I'm Dana K. White, author of Decluttering at the Speed of Life, and today I'm going to solve an age-old problem, and that is how to keep your Tupperware or food storage container cabinet completely and totally under control all the time. So I used to have a cabinet where when I needed to get something to put leftovers in, I had to just barely open it up a little bit and see if I could grab what I needed, because if I opened it up more than this, it was gonna all fall on my head, like literally. My husband's in my first apartment. It was an up-high cabinet and it would literally fall on my head. My friend Cliff Bowen calls it a crap-a-lanch. Anyway, so that was not working for me. Also, I could never find pieces that matched. This is my solution. The simple version is that I store my containers with their lids on. That's it. Just doing that will solve your frustrations and will basically keep your food storage container cabinet under control. But let's talk more about it, because I understand that a lot of people think, oh, I could never do that, or that doesn't make sense, or but. So here, let me just answer some of the buts that people have about this. So the number one thing that people say is a reason they don't want to do this is that it doesn't fit as many. I needed a limit. Like, I had way too many, and the more that I had, the more out of control the cabinet was, and the harder it was for me to deal with it. I have what I call my clutter threshold. You have one too. It's the amount of stuff that you personally can easily keep under control, okay? If you are watching this and you have a nice little system where you have your lids in a fancy Dooley Whopper, and you have your nesting bowls and stuff like that, then great. If it's staying under control, awesome. But if it is not, if you are regularly experiencing the avalanche stuff, then you need to try this way, because no, you can't have as many. I can't handle as many as I had. Like, I literally, there was no hope of mine ever being under control because I had more than I could possibly handle. Along with that was, the more that I had, the more I could stick stuff in one of these containers and stick it in my fridge. The more I did that and didn't have to, like, you know, empty some and clean them out and reuse them, because, you know, I had plenty more in here. The more I did that, the more food went to waste. Like, it just was this bad endless cycle. So having fewer is better for me, because I can't just leave things in the fridge for a really, I can leave them in there for a decent amount of time, but I can't leave them in there forever, because I run out of these and it triggers in my brain, oh, yeah, I really need to clean out the fridge. Okay, if I'm out of my storage containers, then that means there are definitely science projects happening in my fridge, and it's time to clean them out, okay? So it keeps me from just endlessly being able to shove things in the fridge to rot, basically, okay? So having fewer, not a problem for me. But the number one thing that this does is it just makes the whole process easier for me, because when I need food storage containers, I am generally in the middle of cleaning up the kitchen, which is not my favorite thing. I am in the middle of dealing with something. I am not doing an organizing project. In the midst of an organizing project, I can come up with a neat little lid storage system and a bowl storage system and all that kind of stuff. But in the midst of actual real life, it is unbelievably helpful for me to be able to just say, I need a container, and here it is. Here's my container. I have both of the parts that I need. And I just pull it out. There's no looking, there's no matching, there's no thinking needed. I can just grab what I need. Everything I need is right here. And then I use it, and then I wash it. And because it got used together and then it got washed together, I just put the lid back on and put it back in here, and it's all easy, okay? There's no lots of little steps needed. I can pull this out. My problem when I would try those big elaborate systems, because of my personality, I would dig for the right actual container, dig for the lid, And then what I had done in the midst of an organizing project, making it all neat, was then all, everywhere, because I had to move 15 things to get to the one that I actually need, or identify the one that I actually needed. And so what I wouldn't do in the midst of actually cleaning up the kitchen, putting things away, was put all that back neatly. That's just not my personality. So this means I don't have to. I just grab what I need, use it, and I don't have to do a bunch of rearranging. So one last question. How do I know how many of these containers I should have? Well, I used to think that I would need to do math and calculate how many times I cook and how many of those meals are likely to have leftovers and blah, 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 and yada, yada, yada. Instead, I don't have to think that hard. I just say, this is my cabinet that I have for food storage containers, so I can keep as many as will fit in this space. Okay. I mean, that makes my decision for me. That's how I decide. And when I look at it that way, I'm like, okay, it's a good number. I mean, this is basically how many I have. I'm sure there are a couple that are in my fridge right now, but this is plenty, okay? And just in case anybody notices that I do have these pull-out things now, which I do love, that's not the reason that this works, all right? So I did this in my house that we lived in before this one with no fancy pull-out cabinets. And I'm just telling you, this is the thing that works. So if you already have yours under control, keep doing what you're doing. But if you are constantly frustrated that cabinet with food storage containers is always a huge source of frustration, try this way. And then come back and tell me what you think, okay? All right, I will talk to y'all later. Bye.